Babe Ruth was slugging home runs for the New York Yankees, Franklin Roosevelt was president, and gas was 10 cents a gallon. The year was 1934, and Paul Miller just began his teaching career. That was 3/4 of a century ago, and he's been teaching ever since.
Teaching keeps you young. Adds to your years.
Born to Lithuanian immigrants, his mother was illiterate, his father an indentured servant. Paul first began teaching pre-Xerox. He made copies with the jellygraph and rode the trolley to school.
The copy machine is the greatest invention.
What did you do before the copy?
I had a real big machine, and you worked it by hand, and it was hectograph. It used alcohol and some coloring.
He currently teaches calculus at Baltimore's Henry Barron High School. It's ironic that this subject highlights infinite series. At age 94, he's been teaching 76 years consecutively. That's over 27,000 days. Like baseball's Cal Ripken, he's the Iron Man of teaching.
The greatest accomplishment is to see my own children go through school. If nothing else, they knew their math. After a while, they got to a point where they knew much more than I did.
When he went to work, he took with him an enthusiasm that was so easy to see. And on top of that, a way of presenting concepts that are difficult, which have sponsored angst and anxiety on generations of students in such a way that they could understand and make sense out of.
When I teach elementary school, you make sure you talk in a language they can understand. But when you teach it at the university, it's different. You can talk in technical language.
If you had trouble with math, you always went to Paul. Paul was the one who resolved the fact. My brother actually had that experience, and somehow or other he couldn't quite understand a particular part of advanced math that he was taking in his engineering program at Hopkins. And Paul got him started, and he had no trouble after that.
I always remember the way that Mr. Miller taught. I tried to emulate him. I used him as my model for teaching.
He really helped me understand the most difficult parts of math, the calculus and differential equations. And Mr. P. Paul Miller, he made an impact on my life.
I believe that every one of us at one time or another have encountered a teacher that has had an impact on us at such a time in our lives that it's changed our lives' trajectory in a very significant way. And Mr. Miller certainly had that kind of impact on me.
If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.